in here on what should be a day off for you guys. Just finishing up last week after the ball game, I mentioned it, but it was a unique opportunity for our staff to get out. Really, the first opportunity we've had to go out and see people and places. It was awesome to get out, and staff did a great job, and obviously you could tell we were all over the place, and awesome way to start our recruiting here this year. Looking forward to this weekend. Awesome opportunity to get back in front of Neyland. I talked about the crowd last week. Student body in particular was just phenomenal. Looking forward to a great crowd this Saturday. I think it's fitting that we get an opportunity to honor Coach Majors, just what he's meant to both programs as well. A lot of things that were really positive that I talked about after the game that you got a chance to see on tape as a staff. Proud of a lot of the things that our players did, most importantly playing with great effort and strain. I think you saw that in all three phases of the game. A lot of our players got an opportunity to see a lot of positives on tape, some things that we got to get better at, but this is a great opportunity to do that here. The focus this week is on Pitt. It's really on us, correcting the things that we can control. Got to control our preparation. That started for us this morning. With that, I'll open it up to some questions.
Questions? We're going to mic team. Start with Jimmy.
Josh, was there anything after watching the tape of the game that changed your mind after your initial impressions?
I think it reaffirmed the effort that we were playing with in strain. I thought defensively, our first two levels in particular, D-line and linebackers, played with great effort and strain, played sideline to sideline. I think you saw that with a lot of individuals on our special teams. Collectively, we can be better with all 11 playing with that type of effort. But a lot of positives. And on special teams, a lot of young players in particular getting their first action. Offensively, I thought the front five and the tight ends played extremely hard. There's some things that we obviously have to correct in the pass game, and everybody played a part in it. Quarterback having his eyes in the right spot and delivering the ball. Wide receivers understanding what we're asking them to do and being able to read coverage and sit in the right zone. Finish it with a throw and a catch, accuracy or catching the football, and then a couple of busts in protection that we need to clean up so we can sit in the pocket and deliver it. When it looked good, all 11 were operating as one. When it didn't, somebody was off. We got to have great fundamentals and technique and learn from those things and get better this week, and certainly can do that.
John in the middle, then Madison in the back.
Josh, were you able to get many recruits in here for a visit on a Thursday night game?
Thursday night's tough for recruiting, especially you got games that are coming up on Friday. A lot of them have things that they're doing on Thursday nights just as they're preparing for a game. And then some are playing on Thursday night too. So the combination of both weren't able to have anybody in. Looking forward to us in our program being able to have guys in here this Saturday. That'll be our first opportunity to really host guys here for a game day environment.
Hey Coach, Madison with WBIR. You spoke on it some, but why was it important to make Saturday's game the Johnny Majors Classic with the history of him at Tennessee and at Pittsburgh? First time playing since 1983, so why was that important?
Yeah, it's unique that Coach Majors had such a huge impact on both programs. As a player, as a coach, the things that his legacy lives on here at Tennessee. He's a part of the foundation of who we are. He's a cornerstone of it. I think it's a fitting opportunity to pay tribute to him from both programs, and it's unique that you have a coach that is that instrumental in two different programs, and very few opportunities that you get a chance to recognize that with both teams playing.
Rob, then Vince.
Coach, when you went back and watched the tape, what changed for Joe, or what changed with the defense? I mean, he started 9 for 11.
Yeah.
And the first quarter was super hot, and then just wasn't that way for the final quarter.
Right. A lot of it is simple execution. It's him having eyes in the right spot, his feet being in the right position to be accurate with the football. There's a couple times where we hit a receiver down the field, they got to come up with the catch. Some things where wide receivers aren't reading it the same way that he is. A couple things in protection where he's scrambling. When it's going good, right, and it looks easy at times, right? It's because all 11 are doing their job at a really high level. It takes one guy on the offensive side of the ball to put yourself in a position where you're not executing at that level. There's things that we can control, that we can do to make sure that we perform at a higher level consistently.
Two things. Do you have an update on Coop Maze's availability? And then also, when you looked at the tape, how did you evaluate Ollie there at guard and then Jerome sliding over to center?
Yeah, Coop is in the building today, moving around. As the week unfolds, we'll continue to get a better feel if he'll be at 100% for kickoff. I thought Jerome sliding over, obviously the holding calls, but other than that, executed and performed at a really high level inside. Did a great job of communication, getting everybody on the same page. Some different things that we saw front structure-wise from them. I thought he handled it really pretty seamlessly in there. Ollie did some really positive things, a couple of the pin pulls where he's out in space, did a good job getting up on the second level. Thought he handled himself really well.
Go to Austin and Adam.
Do you expect Jimmy Callaway back this week?
Yeah, we do expect Jimmy to be back playing this week.
Looked at the defensive line performance. I think y'all played 11 guys.
Yeah.
Is that kind of about the number?
Going into the game, I felt like we would rotate, give or take a couple of guys in that rotation. You're going to see a steady dose of guys rotating, being able to be fresh and play extremely hard.
Adam Sparks, Knox News. You talked about things that are correctable in the passing game from every position. How common is that when you're putting in a new system, a few new wideouts, a new quarterback? How common in your experience is that you need?
Yeah, you don't want it to be that way. You want to go out and execute. The second half of that ball game is probably as poorly as we've executed since we started training camp. Somebody asked that question after the ball game. Didn't want to answer that before. For whatever reason, we can get back and execute the way we did early in the football game.
Brent and Eric.
Yeah, Coach, you've played against Pat Narduzzi's defenses before, but what is the challenge going against them? And then specifically for your receivers, how physical do they have to be this week, considering what they typically does in the secondary?
Yeah, you're going to see a bunch of man press, based out of the quarters, but they'll play multiple coverages out of it. They're a well-coached team in all three phases of the game. They're going to be tough and physical. That's out on the perimeter. That's inside the core too. And so you got to be tough. You got to be have strain. You got to play with a physical presence. That's going to be important for us out on the perimeter. It'll be true for the guys in the core too.
How would you rate your wide receivers' physicality through camp and through the first game?
Yeah, those guys are tough, physical. We put them in those situations every single day. I anticipate them to play with a great competitive edge on Saturday afternoon.
Eric?
Yeah, more on that defense. It's a defense that gets after the quarterback, 5 sacks in week 1. I know they lost some from last year, but how did your offensive line, specifically the tackles, kind of go about this week in preparing for that?
Yeah, they lost a couple of elite players off the edge from last year's defense. They still got a bunch of guys that can get after the quarterback. They do that in base downs, first and second. Third down, have multiple schemes to try to mess with your protections and create matchups where they can get after the quarterback. You got to do a great job at chewing up yards. You don't want to be in third and long on these guys. At the same time, first and second down, between their front four and the pressures that they bring, you got to do a great job of protecting the quarterback.
Being up front, then Jimmy.
Yeah, Josh, just with your backers, Solon Page and Aaron Beasley getting in there a ton, it seemed like y'all were trying to emphasize getting them some reps. Was that the case, or is that something that will?
Yeah, we did. I think you'll see some rotation of our second-level guys throughout the course of the season because they've earned the right to go out there and play. I thought they played well the other night. I thought the two guys that started, Jeremy and Jawan, were great the other night. Guys that we recognized inside the team room, just playing with great effort and strain. They flew around, played sideline to sideline, and were great in their communication between the third level and first level too.
Jimmy, and let us get a mic to you because of the stream.
Two quick questions. Josh, Mackenzie Melton looked like he would never play football again. He played last night. Just your reaction to that?
Yeah, I got home and turned the ball game on late in the third and went to bed early in the fourth. Woke up to a barrage of text messages from a bunch of buddies, and so this morning I just tried to find the highlights. And unbelievable story. Only him can do what he's done over the last 3 years, coming back from, in the early hours of that injury, just hoping that he was going to be able to keep his leg to, a 2.5, 3 year rehab process to get back. It started with just wanting to be able to have a normal functioning leg and have a normal life to, now becoming a guy that can go play. And you can see last night, I mean, he's back to doing the things that he's able to do, man. He's special inside the white lines. He's got great command, great presence, and has unbelievable playmaking ability. You guys saw that last night. Special, unbelievable to see and be able to watch.
And regarding practice, you've closed it recently. What's your thinking on that, and do you plan to continue that for the rest of the season?
Really, the Tuesdays that you guys are used to, it's just the practice structure of what we do and how we start our practices during the course of the season, where we're into some scheme things right away. So that's really the reason why.
Patrick, then Rob.
Coach, anything new on Byron Young, and you guys prepare this week like he'll be back, or
preparing like he'll be back? We'll get word at some point this week from the NCAA.
Coach, you played in a program at Oklahoma where I guess Bud Wilkinson is kind of analogous to General Nealand here. I mean, and I asked that, just how much do you incorporate the famous 7 maxims into what you do?
We read the maxims before every game. Our players see it. It's in our building. They walk by it every single day. As I've gotten here and tried to understand what the players felt like were important traditions in history of Tennessee football, that was one of the things that they mentioned right away. It's why we continue to say them in the locker room. They live it, they breathe it. It's important to the culture of Tennessee football.
Eric?
When breaking down Pittsburgh, a veteran quarterback, and Pickett over there, what do you see in his game? What are the challenges for your defense this week?
Yeah, I couldn't believe he's still around. He's been there forever. He's continued to grow as a playmaker from the first time that I've seen him. He's got great command and understanding of what they're doing. He's a really good decision maker. He's got the ability to make plays too, uniquely extend and create some plays. They put a ton of pressure on him, and when I say that, I mean they put the ball in his hands a bunch and trust him, and you've seen him play at a really high level.
West and Vince?
Josh, the way Theo Jackson performed in that game, he seemed to fly around. He wasn't hesitant at all. He knew where he was going. How much is that something that y'all had seen from him throughout camp? Yeah,
we expect him to play at a really high level because of who he is inside of our program, and just how he interacts with his teammates, how he competes every single day. That's why he was the team captain, on Thursday night. For the first night, but we expected him to play at a really high level. That's how he's performed, and really grown since we've gotten here. I think he's got great understanding of what we're trying to do defensively and what his job, but really the job of the guys around him is as well, and that's why you saw him play at a really high level the other night.
What stood out to you in terms of special teams?
I think some of our young guys flying around, whether it's kickoff or punt, just playing with effort, technique, and strength. Some of the things that we've been talking about since we first started football, day one of spring ball, got a chance to see a lot of those things show up on tape, and that effort and technique, those are things that correlate over to the offensive and defensive side of the ball as well. But for a lot of young guys, it starts right there. You saw a lot of guys play really well.
Brent?
What was, when you watched the tape, what was your evaluation of your running backs? What did you like that Tyon and Jabari did? And I know that Bowling Green maybe wasn't the most formidable rush defense from the previous year, but what did you like about the execution of your run game?
I thought as the night went on, they did a really good job of some of the scheme changes that we made. They adjusted to them at the running back position. I thought they did a really good job of pressing the line of scrimmage and delivering second-level blocks to some of our combinations, whether it's a center and a guard or a guard and a tackle. I thought they bounced it when it was right to bounce. They didn't just look to bounce it. And I thought they finished the runs really well, trying to get +2 at the end of it. Majority of the night, their ball security, getting pad under pad, arm bar, 2 hands on the football. Thought they did a really good job of that.
Austin and John?
To piggyback what Brent was talking about, Jalen got in late in the third. Seemed like he was trying to bounce everything, try to make the big play. Is that something you guys try to try to hit on him with this week? Just kind of don't be so impatient. Just let it come to you.
First time in the ball game under the lights. He's been phenomenal during training camp. Expect him to play at a really high level. He bounced a couple of the runs right there. Unique structure to one of the schemes that he ran, or we ran it against, different than what he had prepared for. But expect him to have a big game on Saturday.
Josh, do kickoff times make any difference to you? Would you rather play at night than, say, an early start, a noon start?
For our players, I don't think it matters. As far as being prepared and ready to play when it's time to kick off, I think if you ask most players and coaches, they prefer to play early because you get to go to bed, wake up, and the game's on you. You're not sitting around in the hotel all day with anticipation. For your players, they get a chance to enjoy their families after the ball game and kind of decompress and enjoy the moment.
All right. That's it. Thank you.